to The Cycle with Sofia Wren and our guest for today, Oonagh Taeger. And so excited for this new series that we're doing. In the past, I've brought amazing writers and creators to ask about their inspiration for their creative process. We all go through these creative cycles, and although we're all different, we can learn from each other and be inspired. So I'm going to bring some really amazing, inspirational women here to talk about their journey. And today I have an amazing guest. First off, my name is Sofia Wren, and I work with writers and creators to help them make faster progress and to really connect to the soul of what they're working on, so that way they can always know what to do next by following their intuition clearly, so that they can trust themselves and trust the process of what they're making in the best way that will really fit and express who they are. And I'm really excited to introduce to you Oonagh. She helps people to heal from autoimmune disease and other chronic illnesses. She employs a unique combination of homeopathy, journeying, ancestral work, and release of trauma to clear the roots of a disease. She also uses these techniques with clients who wish to do their own shadow work in order to create a higher integration between aspects of the self, mind, body, and spirit. She's committed to helping her clients integrate their power, creativity, and divine light so that they can create radiant well-being and live this life as their truest and greatest self. So I'd love to introduce to you our guest, Oonagh. So come say hi.
Hi, Sophia, and hi, everybody listening or tuning in later, the replay. It's really exciting to be here with you. I just love talking with you, on camera, off camera, whatever.
Yay, I know, it is so fun. We've been friends for almost a year now. It's getting there.
Hey.
And I do want to say hi to, we have somebody watching live, and I know we're going to be having people watch later on, so thank you for joining us today.
Hi, live person. I'm not sure your name.
Say hi or ask questions for Oonagh. And so my first question for Oonagh is, what inspires you as a creator and a healer?
Wow, that's such a big question. I'm going to try to really get to the heart of it. There's just a few things that like jump up that want to be said.
Yeah.
One thing that I just connect with right away is that I feel like from a very young age I was intuitively tapped into who people really are and their divine essence. You know, like I remember, you know, I had a dad who was really suffering a lot in my childhood, right? And I know I was very tuned into who he really was, you know, and I could see that divine being. And I think this happens to a lot of us who go into healing, but I wanted him to be able to feel his own goodness. And I know that that's my goal with everybody that I work with. I want them to feel how good they are, where they are, and just really be able to live that, you know, tap into that, feel it. Not be questioning, not be trying so hard, not being like trying to figure out what to do from our minds, but just to be really living from our hearts, because you know, we trust ourselves. So my inspiration is, you know, of course I want to feel that for myself. This is another thing about creativity. This is a long answer, but that was more about healing. And I do combine creativity and healing very intimately. But creativity, I was a really creative kid. I have these books of these beautiful drawings that I made out of colored pencil when I was 3 years old, and there's all the happy people flying around in the air, and it's just such a beautiful world. And as I grew up, when I got to be like 5, 6, 7, I was a little more self-conscious of who I was in the world, and I was told, was given attention for being creative. You know, like my mom would tell people how creative I was, and that was one of the only ways she was really able to show that she was proud of me. And so I got it in my head, you better be creative, damn it. Right? And so then it became an effort, like, oh, how can I figure out how to be creative? How can I write a creative story? How could I come up with a creative poem or a drawing? Like, this has got to be cool. And then that really shuts down the process, right? When our ego gets involved. So for me, you know, I've been on a quest forever to just remember how to tap in to that natural creativity and like open the doors to inspiration, which is your spirit moving through you. It's your divine connection. It's your flow. So I like being in my flow, and I want that for everybody else. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I just have to jump in and say, like, thank you. That was incredible answer. Fantastic answer. And I feel like I just got teary-eyed
Oh,
sharing, because I feel like around you it's so safe and easy to feel my own emotions. I've done some healing work with you too, and I can say all the things that you want to help you with, you do. And so I want to give a little shout out to anyone listening that she's really an amazing healer. And I love how you put the creative process too, because I think there is this intimate connection between the creativity and the healing, that you know there was something to heal in your creativity, and your healing brings up creativity in you as you go and you help people.
yeah.
And it is all about having that flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of your channel and just allow who you are to be expressed, allow something else that is coming through you to be expressed. And yeah, and I think that was one of the questions that we wanted to talk about the relationship between creativity and healing. Could you talk more about that?
Well, I see creativity in a really broad sense. I was thinking about this getting ready for this interview and doing some writing the other day. Like, what's creativity to me? And well, I think that everything is love. I think that only, like, when it comes to what exists and what our universe is made out of, everything is love. To me, that's the world I live in my head. And so creativity, I think, is the movement of love. Like when we are in that awareness of love, like we want to do something, like something starts, we get inspiration that grows out of that. And that inspiration is, what I'm going to do something. This love is going to go into motion and create something. So that's creativity. So that can be anything that somebody wants to create in the world, anything you feel to do. Like, I want to go out and, play a game. Like, that's a form of creativity, because that's being inspired into motion in your life. And so that is that tapping in, and that tapping into the heart, your spirit. And so healing is really all about opening that door to the spirit, so that we can merge, we can be in integrity with our spirit, and what's coming from us is not coming from here and our effort, and this is just, our mind is just kind of a helper, and it takes a back seat to like, it helps our heart do what it wants to do, instead of trying to run the show and control things. So healing, it's just to switch gears into how I work with people a little bit, because the process is totally creative. I just help people open that door and tap into their hearts and make that really safe space. I think that's why people feel safe around me, because my whole work, my whole purpose in this world is to create that really safe space for us to completely feel our hearts, whatever's in there, and not to judge it or demonize any part of us, because I work a lot. I help people work with their shadow. We do all kinds of shadow work, essentially, if you wanted to boil it down to one thing, and that is going in and letting yourself feel, what is this part of me that wants to be expressed? What's this other part? What's this part that's looked scary or dark? What is this thing that's been uncomfortable or bothering me? And that discomfort, was your effort to suppress some part of you because you didn't think it was really okay, or you didn't think it was really safe, or you thought, well, you would be attacked because of it, or you thought you wouldn't be loved because of it. So my job is to create that very safe space so that that part can emerge and show what it really is. And I swear to you, I promise to you, it's never something scary and bad. Never. Never, never, never. There's always some really beautiful gift that emerges when you make a safe enough space. First, feelings come out, like there can be fear or sadness or, you know, memories or past life memories, or there can be scary scenes. But if you stay there holding that really strong container of love and you just don't get freaked out by any of it, what always emerges is like a new superpower that someone just hadn't claimed.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I wanted to highlight one of those gifts that I think that comes from the safe space. And I agree with you about the importance of that. And I think that in my own way, that's something that I have for people too. And of course, we have different energies. So whoever needs the healing will be drawn to the person that they need the most.
Yeah, but we are very much philosophically aligned, which is why I so love talking with you and working with you.
I know. And I feel like safety is, there's lots of different people out there, but I know that from working with creative people, they really, really need this safety to express themselves.
Oh yeah.
And write, get on stage, and my favorite kind of expression, well, I don't know if I can rank them, but vulnerability and vulnerable expression is so important. So for me, when you said the gift, finding the gift in it, I feel like that can be a huge gift.
Yes, because your vulnerability really is your strength. It's that willingness to be, vulnerability is the willingness to be completely present. And that is the space that art comes out of. That is the space that beautiful writing comes out of, or that all creativity. If you don't have that open heart, that vulnerability, nothing can get out. Because you're trying to protect yourself. Like, you have to be willing to show it. You have to, even if it's in a Google Hangout, you have to be willing to like be that present. And so I think that is, I don't know, like I got so jazzed talking about the healing container. I don't know if I really spoke to like where that gets creative, but when we create the container, your intuition, your spirit kind of creates journeys and story and all these mechanisms, all these like rich imagery that becomes part of the healing. Memories are part of that. I mean, but it's all this very rich symbolic imagery, and that's the same thing that happens in art. Art is a healing for the collective. When we write a novel, that is a healing we're offering to the collective if it's really come from our hearts. Because we're all so connected that's going to resonate with a whole lot of people.
Yeah. And you just said in your sentence, like, create self-space. Like, you have the word create and creating the self-space. And I got to say, I am really obsessed with the whole concept of containers. Years ago is what I really started to think about, not just what was bubbling in the container, not just the fruits of the creativity, not just the ideas, but the container itself, because it just, I could probably talk hours about it, but like to have the container and to separate something from other things is what allows you to kind of be the magician, to be the person putting the ingredients into the soup pot and merge and switch, but to have the safe space where somebody gets to be them in the healing process, and they don't need to be hooked into expectations of others and all these other things, that they can really get in touch with that essence that you see in people, that you want to help people to express and bring out as their goodness. Like, I don't think that it can really occur without having that little time away and apart and separate in the safe container.
Yeah. That's why we create stories in our lives and challenging situations. I mean, and each challenging situation or each trauma, that is a container to work with, to work within. So, we have some structure. We're not just like, here I am, this amorphous being. I want to heal. I want to connect. Like, we have specific projects. We have specific things we want to learn. And that's where it gets exciting.
Yeah.
It's all about, yeah. So I'm very inspired by you working so consciously with containers. I really love that. And I think you're right on.
Oh, thanks. And it kind of, now you're making it come right back to the cycles that a year ago I was like, I want to make an interview series called The Cycle. And I was like, should it be the something cycle, the creative cycle? I was like, no, it's just the cycle. And I was,
Love it.
because in a way it's a container, and it's like things occur over and over again sometimes we start a different cycle.
Yeah.
Still, we're like opening and ending things all the time, and there is this sense of being in something, in some container of time, maybe.
Yeah. I think I used to be less interested in cycles when I sort of thought, okay, a year we're always coming back to the same point. It kind of, I had this idea that a cycle was like a hamster wheel.
Oh,
Right? Yeah, but actually I realized, and it's working with people in healing, and working with my own journey of healing and becoming, how like you get stuff coming back around and you're like, I thought I dealt with this. I thought I healed this. I thought I cleared it up.
Well, thank you for talking about this.
Yeah, what I realized, and then people get discouraged and think, well, maybe the stuff I've been doing doesn't work. Like, what if I put so much energy into journaling or working with this mentor or whatever, and it didn't even work because this thing is coming back. What I realized is that it's a spiral journey. And stuff comes back around to sort, because we have all this, we're so complex. We have so many parts of ourselves, aspects of ourselves that are growing, and we don't just like heal one aspect all at once. We're like integrating all the time, and we're on this expanding spiral. So the cycle is coming back around in the spiral, I think, in a way, but it's bigger, it's new, it's always new and more expanded.
Yeah, that reminds me of something that Margaret Lynch called, and I think she might have a YouTube video about it. She calls it the karma spiral. And she talks about, as healers or coaches, that, as we are evolving and growing, then we can bring others up the spiral too. And we're all spiraling as a collective, to a higher frequency or vibration. But that is really nice, because I feel like I've been hearing this in conversations a lot lately about, like you, for instance, let's say control. Like, you're working on your relationship with letting go and letting go of control and being in surrender and open to the universe and what it wills for you. Or, you recognize that being tight-fisted is really stressing you out, maybe causing health problems. And you're like, okay, well, I dealt with that.
Right.
And then another week goes by and you're like, whatever modality you use or whatever you're doing, control is coming up again. And it's like, did I not get rid of it all that day? Well, I mean, maybe that day, that's all there was for you to work with, and you worked with it, but it didn't mean you did anything wrong.
No. And it didn't mean the work wasn't super valuable.
What'd you say?
It didn't mean that the work wasn't super valuable.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that was great. Thank you. Yeah. I really appreciate you sharing. So it's worth it to be in the healing process and doing these things to kind of move forward in the cycles we're in, even if we may perhaps end up looking at a similar issue or thing again at a different level of the cycle process, a different part.
I'd say if those things are not coming back around, then we got stuck somewhere, and we're not progressing like we think we are. I'd say that things coming back around are actually a sign that you're moving on the spiral.
Wow. I think that would blow a lot of people's mind.
Woohoo!
But
So, yeah, and don't you think that we need a whole lot more practice noticing our progress?
yes.
Like, looking back, how far have we come? Like, who was I 2 years ago? Who was I 5 years ago versus who am I now?
I think that's an important part of really recognizing the cycle that we're in and that we've moved through, and it can be discouraging if we don't do that.
I agree, because that's when we will tend to feel like we're on a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, it's I'm just working and working, and it's always work. Well, you might as well enjoy the work, because it is. I think it's an eternal expansion, and we always are reaching for new growth. So
I have this theory that when we have a creative practice or a spiritual practice or something that we're doing, that kind of helps us to mark the cycles. Like,
oh yeah,
in my meditation chair again, and I'm doing this thing, but here I am in a different part of this, a different cycle. And as I sit in it, I'm sitting, it's almost like a necklace. Like, here's another bead in this thread of doing this whole thing, all these past cycles I've gone through. And I'm also really expectant of the next part,
yeah.
here again. I think it's just so cool. I wonder, do you have any practices like that?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to point out that, again, you're talking about the container.
Yeah.
That practice is the container, and you're showing up. You can see how the stuff in the container changes. Like,
Yeah.
the container is a way to kind of keep track of it. Yeah, practice is like, I actually am using the same practices for if I want to make art, or if I'm going to sit with a client.
Yeah.
And that is, I meditate like pretty extensively before any of that stuff, if I can. That's my first thing. And then, well, I stretch first. I get my body loosened up, and then I meditate kind of for a long time. And okay, this is I'll just I don't know. I didn't know if I was going to talk about this in public, but you asked.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm going to be transparent and vulnerable. So, what's blowing my mind these days, I got it has to do with channeling, and channeling has everything to do with creativity. I think when we're creative, we're always channeling. And I know that you are a channel, and I know that you can relate to this.
Yes.
And it's why you're so creative. You're so artistic.
Well, thank
You're an open channel. And so I think the practice is, how do I become an open channel for my own spirit? And so the meditation helps that. And what I phase into now, that is, I started to learn to allow myself to use light language. Have you looked at this?
So
You're
that's
familiar
like
with?
it's just sort of allowing yourself to, I've never done it myself, but allowing yourself to speak or sing or
Yeah.
and not analyze what's
Yeah.
happening.
It's it was best explained. It's a non-cognitive language.
Oh.
It doesn't come through your analytical brain. It doesn't have to have words that have meaning, although you may be speaking words with meaning that you don't realize you're speaking, because people feel like they're channeling language from star beings, or from maybe from spirit guides, or some people will start speaking an actual language that they don't know, like Aramaic or something. But that someone else can recognize when that has happened, because when you make yourself an open channel, so I just set very strong intentions that this is, I'm channeling my spirit, my source, that it's all about love. And I let myself make sounds and words and whatever wants to come out. And oh my gosh, it's so, like, talk about vulnerable, and talk about a practice that will challenge you to not judge yourself and not edit yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what you need in order to be truly creative and super authentic in your life. You need total self-trust. You need to stop criticizing and judging yourself, to not judge your art, to not judge the stuff that comes out when you write or when you speak, because that will shut you up. It will shut you down if you do that. And also, if you're judging other people, that's going to shut you down too. So, like, I get to be as open and delighted with your process as I am with, and with everybody's. You know, I have to hold that space of total respect for everybody's process, so that because, you know, if you judge somebody else, you're judging yourself too. You can't escape it.
Wow.
So,
Oh, wow. Thank you. I wanted to honor you and to know that probably a lot of people watching are admiring your confidence and being able to share that. And I agree with everything you said about that being so important, that self-trust and everything. So kudos. And the question that's coming to me through my channel to ask you is, how do we close a cycle? I know a couple people are feeling like they're kind of stuck in between, or they're in the threshold of one cycle and another. And so how do you respond to that question of how do we close a cycle?
I think it's a little, okay. Just a really simple answer coming to me, and that is, you have to trust yourself. Because you already know your answers. You already know what you want. And if you're stuck, there's something you want that you're telling yourself is not okay. That's all. It's
That's
like,
all it is.
it's all about trusting yourself. It's
Mhm.
like, that's what I'm working on for myself, and that's what I want for everybody, because we are all these brilliant divine beings. We are all so infinitely loving. We all want, what we want is so good, and we just screw ourselves up when we do not trust what's coming from our own hearts.
I love it. Oh, this has been so good. And I know me and Oonagh, for anyone watching who's enjoyed this, we're talking about doing more talks. She's starting her YouTube channel, and I'm spreading the word about how amazing she is.
And like what, vice versa.
Well, I think I'm going to be hopping on yours, and I think
Totally.
I'm probably going to bring you back over. So yes, and I'm bringing it over to Oonagh's screen so you can see her website right under her name, so you can visit her there. And in the replay, we're gonna in the description, there's gonna be her information, so you can go check her out where she lives on the internet and go reach out to her. You know, if you're getting the call to explore working with her, perhaps you're would like to move forward in healing from an autoimmune disease or chronic illness. She's amazing. And I want to thank Oonagh. And if you guys like this, please subscribe to this channel. We're going to have more fun, inspiring, amazing interviews. But this was a great one to start off the year. Thank you so much, Oonagh.
Oh, thank you, Sophia. I'm so excited. This was absolutely wonderful. You know, I was a little nervous about getting on a public hangout and talking with you. I just, like, you know, I just get inspired. I just get inspired talking to you. Opens up my heart. So I love you so much. Thank you.
Oh, I love you too. Oh, thanks guys for watching. Oonagh, you hang out with me a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
we'll see you in the next interview. Thanks for watching.